Welcome back to the Yacht Show, brought to you by Browns International. I'm Tom, and today we're diving into something special. Our new high-end service, Bespoke by Browns. It's all about making the yacht buying process personal, effortless, and completely tailored to you. Buying a yacht can be one of the most exciting experiences in your life, but it can also be complex, time-consuming, and full of moving parts. Bespoke by Browns was created to change that. Essentially, personal shopping, but for your yachts. Joining us today is Spencer Brown. Many of you already know him, and if you do, you will know that he is a seasoned expert in personal yacht shopping and buyer representation. We'll be unpacking what the service is, how it works, and most importantly, how it helps clients find their perfect yacht. Whether that's a brand new build or a pre-owned vessel. Let's get into it. Spence, good morning.
Tom, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, and welcome to your first Browns International, The Yacht Show podcast.
A new milestone. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic.
Really looking forward to it.
Pleasure to be here with you.
Cool, likewise. So, Spence, could you explain a little bit about our new service, Bespoke by Browns?
Yeah, of course. I guess really as a kind of elevator pitch, the thing about Bespoke by Browns is it's fresh, it's new, it's exciting. But what it is it's a directed, personalised yacht shopping service, a yacht shopping experience. There are a lot of options out there in the world, and a lot of people don't know the answers to all the questions. We give an insightful, experienced, knowledgeable answer to all questions and help to guide a customer through the path to buying their perfect yacht.
Sure. So why would a buyer choose this service instead of going directly to the shipyard, for example?
If I put myself in the place of a wealthy individual who's ready to buy a yacht, to reach that point, you are a very busy individual. Whether it's your diary, whether it's your professional obligations, whether it's your personal life, there's a lot going on. That in itself creates distraction from what this is, which is an extremely pleasurable thing to do. The whole idea of our service is that we filter out the white noise around yacht purchasing. We listen to the client's needs and we take it from there. We produce a service which, in my opinion, is second to none because it's very targeted. It gets the client to where he wants to be in the easiest, most incisive manner.
Sure. I suppose the actual process itself can be quite daunting, certainly when you're doing it alone.
Yeah.
So what would be the benefits of choosing Bespoke by Browns compared to a typical service?
At the end of the day, you are consulting with experts. We are using our expertise, our knowledge, and our market contacts at each and every node point to enable the quickest, the easiest, the most straightforward, professional and efficient service. You wouldn't get that when you're in touch with a brand. Obviously, the brand wants to sell you a product. It might not answer all the requirements that the client has. Mm-hmm. We're looking at the marketplace as a whole, multiple brands to bring an evolved service to the client.
Sure. I suppose there must be a bit of a system to the process. I think every system and method changes dependent on the situation, depending on the client, and depending on the boat. But have you got a sort of standardized model that we could follow?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. I mean, this isn't one size fits all at all. This is very, and I want to underline this, it's very individual and personalised to the buyer. So each circumstance, each case is completely different. The merits of each case is completely different. But the one thing the audience needs to know, it is personalised. The Browns International are working for them, and Bespoke by Browns is a method of creating the most satisfying yacht in the most professional and efficient way.
Sure. Exciting.
Yeah.
Could you maybe talk us through some of the steps that you would tend to follow?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are many. I'll try and condense them as much as possible. The first thing is, of course, meet the client, preferably face-to-face, if not by Zoom. Get an idea of the client's lifestyle, character, listen to the client. If possible, if he has a permanent captain, involve the captain at a very early stage because the captain knows the way the owner uses the boat, what he likes to see from the boat, and features he likes. So you've got this kind of this almost you are a consultant to the board, which is the buyer and the captain. Mm-hmm. You're listening to their facts. You explain how Browns International interacts in this process between the buyer and the various manufacturers or dealerships, so that he's very clear. And I think the one thing that I've learned through this process is transparency, candidness, openness and honesty from both parties is the best way to get the best results. And I know that sounds very obvious, but quite frequently there's something that's missed in the whole story. There may be some part of the requirement list that is left out or omitted or forgotten about. It's just a case of being honest, straight, and saying, this yacht can do this for you, sir, but this yacht can't. But if we add this, it could. So again, using your knowledge to apply to those different situations. Like I said, I'm trying to condense this as much as possible. So you get to a point now where you've got the client's requirements and you present a shortlist. You know, that shortlist could be 5, or it could be, like my last time, 21 yachts that fitted the client's
Wow.
his preferences, his requirements. So effectively, then you look at exactly what fits budget, size, platform, use, cabins, crew cabin, whether it's raised pilot house, whether it's garage or beach club, all those factors. You look at all those and you evolve that list down to what I like to describe as a green, amber, red list. So the green is essential for consideration, and that could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats out of the 21 as it was. The amber are still in contention, but not necessarily so much of a focus, and the red have dropped out. So you are evolving this list down to hopefully 1/2 yachts, which we'll come on to in a minute.
And I think on that point, it's quite interesting, and this is where the service comes into it. As an owner or someone looking to purchase a boat, doing that themselves, when you think that you whittled down 21 options and actually...
Tom, can you imagine how many emails, calls, WhatsApp messages and communications that would mean from all those parties?
Yeah.
That's what I mean by the filter. We are the filter. We cut out that white noise and get to where the client wants to be.
Sure. Very exciting.
Yeah.
And then from that process, what are the next steps, would you say?
So essentially from there, when you've got that shortlist, in reality, the ideal thing is to, if you can visit a boat show where those yachts are all exhibited, a day, 2 days, 3 days, to go through that is ideal. But of course, boat shows only happen once, twice, 3 times a year. So effectively, you get to a point where you look at what are the top 1, 2, 3 even, and you visit those boats, whether they're at yards or at dealerships or out in the field. Again, you're cutting down the time. Imagine if you had to visit 21 yachts to understand that, which a client...
It's probably a lot of travelling.
Yeah, exactly. But the important thing is, we all know time is the most valuable essence in the world. It's the most valuable thing we all have, and it runs out very quickly. So what we're doing here is creating a trajectory for the client to understand his requirements from his yacht are being met in the quickest, most efficient manner.
I think also you've got to really know your client as well.
Yep.
When you're getting into the numbers of 21 potential yachts, at the end of the day, you're going to be making a lot of the decisions. So do you think that personal relationship with the client is quite important as well?
It's very, very key to this whole process. The client is the most important factor. We are working for the client to find his dream yacht. If he goes to, let's say, Southampton Boat Show, he may not see Italian product. He might not see Turkish product. He might not see Dutch product. So at the end of the day, our knowledge and our expertise and experience help him open his eyes, to find that dream yacht. And that's where it comes back to the first conversations with him, getting to know the client, understanding his requirements, and presenting him with relevant things, so you're not, again, wasting his time.
Sure.
The client's, the client is, like I said, is the most important factor in all of these things.
Sure.
Okay, so we've now got the shortlist. We've viewed a couple of yachts. We're down to the essence of what we're getting to is he has a favourite or two. So you can then get into a position where you're liaising with the shipyard on his behalf. You're understanding where the buying parameters are. You understand what his approved buying parameters are, whether the budget matches where they can negotiate to, and you're then matchmaking effectively. You might use 2 yachts because at the end of the day, that way we can negotiate with a stronger hand. which is always a very interesting scenario. And he may have equal. One may not be his favourite. There may be equal favourites. So you may be seeing what is the best deal for the client on each. But again, we're working for him. We're working for his pocket. We're working to find him the best yacht that is possible. Alongside that, you're working on a specification for him, probably with the captain first of all, so the captain can understand and get from the yacht what the client needs. So, for example, if he doesn't want to be interrupted ever at lunch, doesn't want the boat to move because the anchor's dragging, he might want bigger anchor chain. He might want bigger anchors. That's the captain's prerogative and the way that the captain will think. So if you like, the captain is doing a lot of the hardware, as I describe it, to make the yacht more applicable to the owner's use.
A important relationship to have then through the process, certainly with the captain.
Yeah, exactly. And then realistically, the other part of the specification is obviously the interiors, making a new yacht personalised to their requirements. And I personally am just going off towards new here, but of course this service is for brokerage as well. We can find brokerage yachts that fit the key elements of what they want to talk about. It's not always as easy to find the exact boat in the exact way, but the client's requirements might be for a quicker hit. They may want to buy a yacht in May for June. So therefore, the chance of getting a new yacht is pretty slim. The chance of getting a brokerage boat that fits their requirements or nearly fits their requirements and they're willing to compromise on certain things is equally viable. So Bespoke by Browns can deal in that way as well. And
how would you say that process differs when you're dealing with the brokerage side of the market versus the new build?
So in effect, with a new build, you are almost transposing someone forward in time to the point where they get their yacht. It's built around their specification. Its payment plan is progressive. There is a time span. So who knows, the client may have a liquidity event or a sale of a property or a business sometime during the route of that boat that frees up for the larger payments towards the end. So that may suit his personal requirements better. And again, that transparency about his situation is very important. The knowledge of what's going on with him and how he will facilitate this boat is key to the relation to the purchase. But flipping back the other way, like I said, someone may be in May and they've just had their liquidity event and they want a boat for June. So therefore, to go and visit 5, 6, 7, 8 boats within their budget, within their requirement range, may be a little too time consuming within a month. Again, the filter idea of us going to visit those boats, of building a pros and cons of each yacht, of the process of elimination is what I'm trying to say, of those 5, 6, 7, 8 boats is important to the client because then he'll see the epitome of what you understand from his requirement list.
Sure.
In parallel with the negotiation, the specification is also supporting the client with liaison with regards to, might be a surveyor, maybe a lawyer, his accountancy firm. All these things come into play, maybe his family office. All these things come into play with regard to release of funds, signatures, etc. So it all depends on the structure of how he wants to buy the yacht. Of course, one of the most important bits of this yacht purchase is the final agreement. So, in essence, Bespoke by Browns will analyse the contract prior to legal representation, analyse the contract, and just underline what the pros and cons are of that contract. Each yard or each brokerage scenario has a different contract. So, at the end of the day, it's an important part of the process. There'll be ongoing liaison with the shipyard, or there'll be ongoing liaison with either the shipyard representative, the dealership, or the broker representing the brokerage yacht in order to get exactly what the buyer wants. Obviously, with regard to a new build, then we're monitoring the build through its progress. We're reporting in at certain times. This could be with the captain, this could be with surveyor, or it could be just us doing that. But at certain times, just keeping the buyer in touch with what's going on with the build. So heading towards the end of the new build process gets to be a very busy time. Obviously, we've got surveyors information coming in, you've got yard information coming in. We may also have to manage delays, which is always something of a thorny issue at the end of a build, but something to very much underline to the buyer that a rush can mean a shortcut on quality. That is not what we want for when he gets to use the boat. We want to ensure the quality is right, and that is why we work very heavily with the captain and the surveyor towards the end of the build. Fantastic thing is we get to the end of the build, okay, we get to that point of handover, making sure in conjunction with the shipyard that everything's right. The flowers are ready. The handover gifts are there. That moment when he cuts the ribbon and gets his keys is a phenomenal feeling for that buyer. That is really what this is all about. That moment of seeing the client walk onto the boat, the look in his eyes, the smile on his face, the family smiling. That's such a rewarding feeling.
God, do you think that many people realise how much goes into it? I mean, we could sit here and probably do a podcast and more.
Yeah, exactly.
A podcast and more and all of the
Yeah.
steps, which is, I mean, amazing, because I think it's interesting to see how in depth you can go. And that's why I think the Bespoke by Browns package is interesting to speak to people about and educate and learn. Clearly, we're all going to be learning every step of the way, because no situation is the same.
Never the same, no. And the point here really is that when you get to that point, the client understands what's gone on behind the scenes, how much work's gone in. He has achieved his dream, and that was the aim of the game.
So I know that you, as of late, have been putting together a situation like this for a new San Lorenzo coming to the market for charter. So does the mindset change at all if you're looking to build from new a charter vessel as a business? What are the key items, or what are the key design processes that you think are more important for a charter vessel?
Obviously, safety is a very important part of a charter vessel. It's got to be coded to a certain system, depending on the classification type. So in reality, the safety, the equipment on board, etc., has to be enhanced in order to achieve that classification. I think as well, it's worth saying that if you are using a yacht for charter reasons and equipping it, in essence, you need to think about what people are going to do on that yacht. They are there for hospitality. They are there for fun, for water sports. So you need to ensure that the yacht isn't just a yacht. It's a waterborne leisure facility. That there are extra fridges in different areas on the yacht that stewardesses or chefs can get easy access to galley to get food. There are places to display food. There are places to make drinks. All these sort of things come into account. On this very vessel, we're actually building a breakfast bar, which isn't in the standard specification. We're building a breakfast bar so that breakfast can be laid out, whether it's juices, cereals, and a buffet-style breakfast, so that every morning there is a display for the breakfast. Because this yacht, the chef really wants to show their prowess with regard to making breakfast and starting the day in the right way.
And in that, using that example, the breakfast bar, how cooperative are shipyards when you decide that, okay, this is going to benefit the yacht? How easy is it to cooperate with the shipyards?
Some are really cooperative. Some don't like to change their designs. And I get both ends of the scale there. But in reality, if the shipyard won't do it, it can always be done in the after-sales market.
Sure.
It's just a case of, we won't do it there, sir. We'll do it here. Again, guiding them through the process to make sure they get what they want from the yacht.
Understood. And rather than just dealing with the shipyards directly, there's lots of other elements that come into building a yacht, whether that's the captains, the crew, lawyers, solicitors. How important is your relationship with them as well throughout the process?
Unbelievably important, because you want to give the buyer the most secure, knowledgeable, safe and expert advice that you can around the yacht. It's not just about the yacht at the end of the day, it's getting the right purchasing scenario. And all these people are experts in their own field that enable that client to feel, I am doing the right thing, I am moving forward with this, I feel comfortable, I feel safe, my money's safe, etc.
Sure. Well, I know you're super experienced in the industry.
Yeah, I think so.
And learnt a lot. And if I was a client and you've been through this process with them before, what's the biggest mistake that you have to look out for and that we have to try our best to educate the client on?
I think in reality, it is know what you want to buy. And it sounds a little bit obvious, but not every client actually analyses what they want, what their family wants, what their needs are, whether they're chartering, etc. They don't look at the list of requirements. And I say the list because yachts are a thing of passion. You know, you look at a yacht and you think, wow, that looks cool. That looks beautiful. My friends are going to get impressed by that. I am going to be the coolest kid on the block with that yacht. But does it fit your lifestyle? does it really work for you? For example, I know buyers who have dogs, and they're very careful about their dogs. So they want to make sure that a boat has moulded gunnels, for example. It might look cooler without, but moulded gunnels means the dog is safe as it goes down the side deck. You can apply that to toddlers as well. You may need to have a boat that hasn't got fully open rear transom, that has maybe a glass barrier and safety gates, so that the toddlers can't get past that area, can't get under the gate. So all these things need to be applied to what the client wants. And again, knowing his lifestyle is so important. Candidness, openness, discussion about, how often he uses a boat, who's going to use the boat with, how is he going to use it, all those questions, answer them, and then you can almost fill in a matrix for the client that is his ingredients for the correct recipe for the boat.
I suppose those specific adjustments that can be made to a yacht, they could be mistakes that are made if you were doing this process on your own.
Yeah.
You talk about this list, but a buyer might not have had that list put in front of them, and they may not realise. So I suppose by doing it through a Bespoke by Browns setup, we can try our best to educate them on every single specification and that full list, rather than potentially half, or try and avoid someone rushing into purchasing a boat.
Yeah. And I think, dare I say it, and I have been that person, I've been a brand representative for many years. You always think your brand fits the client's requirements. When you're on the other side of the fence and you look through the options and you analyse the market, you actually can find there is a lot of product out there that might fit the client's requirements so much better, but he hasn't taken that option. I used the analogy earlier of, you've been to Southampton Boat Show, but there's no Italian product on display. So you see the UK product, but you don't know about the Italian product. You don't know about the Dutch. You don't know about the German. You don't know about the Turkish. This is about exploration, and that's why you go out a little bit to open the client's eyes, to make sure you can then evolve it down to exactly what he wants.
And I know that you've helped a few people through this process before. What are some of the challenges that would be faced, and how can you make that process easier?
The challenges. I think the challenges are that I said earlier, the challenge for me, the biggest challenge that I see with these clients is their time. You don't want to waste their time with irrelevance. You don't want to waste their time with things that they shouldn't be thinking about. You want to listen, understand, assimilate that knowledge, and apply it to the product that's out there. And I think the biggest challenge really is that they will get some of that white noise from other places, and they may actually think that could be the right advice, and it may be in certain cases. These are all very individual cases, and what I'm trying to say is that Bespoke by Browns tries to eradicate the challenges and make it easier, more straightforward, more targeted to the eventual dream boat.
I think this is quite an interesting point on transparency. Making sure that the client's needs are always number one.
Yeah.
So how important is transparency, and how do you see that being an integral part of this process?
I think I covered it off very early, in that when you're listening to the client, you're asking for transparency from them about everything on their yacht. Whatever it is, whether it's transparency about their lifestyle, transparency about how they enjoy the yacht. It's so important to get the end product from them. But transparency also means honesty and candidness in their dealings. So if they're getting approached by another broker, let's say,
Sure.
for example, let's talk about it. Getting approached by another brand while trying to buy a British brand while trying to buy an Italian brand. Let's talk about it.
Could easily happen.
Yeah.
Could easily happen.
The point about the transparency is it's business discussion about a leisure product. It's understanding, and it might be that approach from that British yard, when you look at the Italian yard, is timely, and actually I could have made a mistake and could have misunderstood something. So it's great to talk all along the progress. And transparency actually also matters a lot when it comes to dealings with the captain. Because at the end of the day, he's a crucial part of all this. His advice is very much valued and respected. But of course, he may get pulled apart, diverted by other brands as well, or other brokers, etc., or the boat next door who's got such and such and such. So again, transparency, discussion, and working through it together as a project team, I think is really important.
Well, I think that's super educational. I think lots of people can learn a lot from understanding the process. It's a bit of a call to action, and hopefully we can deal with more clients that are looking to go through this process and educate them. If anyone is out there listening and is looking to follow the steps, I'm sure they're more than happy to reach out to you, and you can talk them through the process and just have an initial conversation about what that means and the processes that follow.
Exactly, Tom. It's not just about buying the yacht. It's about buying the right yacht the right way. And it's about the customer experience. That's what Bespoke by Browns is all about.
That was perfect. Really insightful. Thank you, Spencer. For anyone listening who's considering buying a yacht, whether it's your first or your fifth, this service is designed to make the process smoother, more personal, and far more enjoyable. You'll have expert guidance from start to finish without the stress or the guesswork. If you'd like to learn more about Bespoke by Browns, get in touch directly with our team. The details will be in the description below. We'll walk you through how the process works and help you take the first step towards your next yacht. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Yacht Show.